Week 2 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I would look to sell high and trade away this week. The first guy is Joe Musgrove of the San Diego Padres, and Musgrove, he just came off a no-hitter in his second start of the season here. Musgrove, he's been a decent starter throughout his career, but after a guy coming off a no-hitter, his value is going to be at an all-time high, and right now, if I could trade Musgrove off for a big-time hitter or just another pitcher who's been off to a slow start, but is a stud, this is the time to do it because I don't think he'll throw another no-hitter this season. I know he's on a good San Diego Padre team that's going to give him a lot of run support and stuff and win a lot of ball games this season. But Musgrove, it was just a perfect ball game for him versus a weak team in Texas that other night to get the no-hitter. And we'll see what he does tonight. He has another good matchup at Pittsburgh. But Musgrove, he's definitely a classic sell-high candidate, like I said, coming off that no-hitter. And so far in the season, 15 innings pitched, 2-0 record for Musgrove. Only 3 hits given up in the 2 starts, 18 strikeouts with a 0 ERA, an 0.20 whip, and 2 quality starts. So in his first start of the season versus Arizona, 6 innings, got the win, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts. And then at Texas, a great no-hitter it was for him. The complete game, obviously, no-hitter, got the win, and 10 Ks for Musgrove. So now at Pittsburgh versus former team, he'll probably get another great start here today. And then after that, he's a player I would just look to dump off and trade away for something big because his value's at an all-time high. And if I'm a Musgrove owner, this is the time to cash in early on the season after a no-hitter and get great value from him. The second pitcher is Hanshi Ryu of the Toronto Blue Jays. So Ryu, he's up pitching once again so far this season. 19 innings pitched, a 1-1 record for Ryu, 15 hits given up, only 4 earned runs, 19 strikeouts, and a 1.89 ERA and a 0.89 whip with 2 quality starts. So Ryu, he's been pitching good. And in 2 of those 3 starts, he versed a tough New York Yankee offense, and he held his own for the most part versus them. April 1st at the Yankees, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts with a 3.38 ERA and an 0.94 whip. And then at Texas, April 7th, he went 7 innings but got a tough loss in that one. 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. That wounded up to a 2.57 ERA, a 1 whip and a quality start. And then yesterday versus the New York Yankees, 6 2/3, he got the victory. 4 hits, only giving up 7 strikeouts, and an 0.75 whip with 1 quality start. So Ryu, he's pitching good right now. And just off those last 2 starts, I think you could sell him off and get a good hitter in return for Ryu because I don't think it's going to continue. This AL East, it's been a little better so far than I expected in the early going. The first 10, 11 games of the season, we see Boston, they're on fire, 7-3 on the season. The Yankees are the Yankees. Tampa Bay's Tampa Bay for the most part. And Baltimore, they've been hitting the baseball decently. So Ryu, he's in a tough division. And I don't see the numbers keeping up at a good pace like they have been, even though he's pitched well in his first 3 starts. And he's a sell candidate this week. The next guy is Aaron Sival of the Cleveland Indians. He's been pitching well so far in the early going here for the Indians. But he's another guy I don't see you keeping up on the season. He's pitched 14 2/3. Only 5 hits given up, 4 earned runs, 12 strikeouts with a 2.45 ERA and a 0.55 whip with 2 quality starts. And he had 2 great starts, but versus the Detroit Tigers, who obviously aren't known as a big hitting ball club this season. So April 4th versus Detroit, 7 innings, got the win in that one. Only 2 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, a 3.86 ERA, and an 0.71 whip with a quality start. And then versus Detroit, once again here for Sival on April 10th, 7 2/3, got the win in that one. 3 hits, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, a 1.71 ERA, and an 0.39 whip with a quality start. So right now, Sival, he's got one of the easier lineups in the league. He beat the first 2 times throughout the season, and now let's see what he does in tomorrow's outing at the Chicago White Sox, which it's not going to be an easy ball game for them. The White Sox, obviously, they're a big hitting ball club, and they could get a lot of runs on the board. So Sival, if I'm a Sival owner right now, I would look to trade him off and see if I could get something, a good value for him. Because if the White Sox hit him hard, his value is going to go down a little. And also, you wouldn't get as much in a trade as you could have after these first two starts of the season. The next pitch is Marcus Stroman of the New York Mets. Stroman, he's had an amazing two starts so far to the season. And Stroman, he signed the 1 year, $18 million qualifying offer, which I was surprised about, but this season's another contract year. He's going to try to get a 4 or 5 year deal this season here if he pitches well with Stroman. And so far, he's been great for this Met team, but I don't know if it's going to continue. I know he's looked good, but it's only two starts, and this NL East is very tough with good lineups like the Braves, Washington, and the Philadelphia Phillies. So far in two starts for Stroman, 12 in the third innings, 2 wins, 8 hits only given up, 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, which comes out to an 0.73 ERA and an 0.81 whip for Stroman with 2 quality starts. And on the season, the 2 starts for Stroman were versus the Philadelphia Phillies. April 6th, 6 innings pitched. He got the win in that game, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts with a 1.50 ERA and 0.83 whip and a quality start. Then April 11th, that Met game, it should have just never happened versus the Marlins. Stroman, he was the starter in that one. He went out there, got 1 out, and gave up a hit, and it was just a torrential downpour. And Stroman, he got the start in that one, but obviously the game was canceled after 1 out, and it should have never been played, so he was good to go last night in the second game of a doubleheader versus the Phillies. Then he pitched lights out again versus Phillies, 6 innings, got the win, 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, with no ERA and 0.67 whip and a quality start. So for some reason, Stroman, he's been mowing down the Philadelphia Phillies in his first 2 starts of the season. But let's see how things are going to go for him in his next start, most likely versus the Chicago Cubs or the Backy series, which is definitely going to be a tougher matchup, I think, than Philly. But Stroman right now is pitching well, and if you could get a good hitter or something for him, this will be the time to do it, in my opinion. And the 5th and final pitcher, I would look to sell high this week's Lance Lynn of the Chicago White Sox. So Lance Lynn, he was great last season, and this season so far he's been lights out in the early going, 13 and a 2/3 inning. He's got a win under his belt, 11 hits given up, 17 strikeouts, no ERA, an 0.95 whip, and a quality start. So Lance Lynn's picking up where he left off last season, and he's already got a complete game shutout under his belt as well versus the Kansas City Royals a few nights ago. And Lynn, he pitches again tomorrow versus Cleveland. And right now, after a guy who comes off a no-hitter, a complete game or shutout or whatever the deal is, a high strikeout game, this is the time to strike. Like I mentioned about Musgrove early in the video, the same thing goes for Lance Lynn. After coming off a huge performance versus a weak hitting ball club, this is the time to sell him high and try to get peak value for him. April 3rd at the Angels, he went 4 2/3, 6 hits for Lynn, 6 strikeouts, but he didn't give up a run and a 1.71 whip. And then, like I said, the complete game shutout versus the Kansas City Royals on the 8th. He went the full way, got the win in that one, 5 hits, 11 strikeouts for Lynn in that ball game, and the quality start with an 0.56 whip. So Lance Lynn, he's pitching at a high level, but I don't think he's going to keep it going this season, especially no ERA throughout his first 2 starts, and we'll see what he does tomorrow versus Cleveland. But right now, I think his value's at an all-time high, and I'd look to sell him high or trade him away. So that's a few pitches I would look to sell high or trade away here in week 2 of the fantasy baseball season.